concealer brush, you guys. Oh my god, she's cute. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video because we're talking about concealer. We're doing a concealer review. We are talking about the new Ami Cole concealer, the second it launched or even before it launched, and you guys knew the concealer was coming out. I got a million questions about it, so I got it, been trying it out, testing it out. I got the brush that they launched with it too, and I'm excited to get into it, and we're gonna do a little concealer review. We're also going to compare it to my favorite concealers that I talk about nonstop and use nonstop on this channel, and I can't wait to get into it. So I just want to kind of jump in and get started. I don't want this to be the longest video of all time, so if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below for me on what your favorite concealers are. I would love to know, and if you've used it, what your thoughts are. And without further ado, let's get into this Ami Cole concealer review. All right, you guys, let's get into it. So I got two concealer shades, and I also have the brush that they launched with it. The shades I got in the concealer, oh my goodness. The shades I got in the concealer are medium 2 and medium 1.5. And the shades I have in their skin enhancing tint are medium 1 and medium 2. Now, medium 1 is the darker shade, and I tend to mix them together. And depending on how tan I am, it depends. But I like to mix these two together. And I mean, I've talked about this a ton. I've used it a ton. I'm obsessed with it. I did a whole Ami Cole brand review, so I'll link that also down below if you're curious about their other products. But let's talk about the concealer. So again, I use the shade medium 1 and medium 2.5. So, or not 2.5, 1.5 and medium 2. Can I read and look alive? So this is medium 2. And they had a lot. I was really impressed with how many options they had, and they launched like in between shades. Because in the skin enhancing tint, they have just like medium 1, medium 2, and all of that. But they have a medium 1.5 and all of that, which I thought was great, because sometimes you want something more brightening, sometimes you want something that's your shade, like your exact skin tone match. Everyone has like different preferences for under the eyes. Now these are very, very different shades. I got medium, medium 2, because it was more pink, and I do get really, it's more on the peach side, and I do get very blue right here, and my under eye circles are so dark. You can see here, this is the more pink shade, which is shade 2. Medium 2. So this is shade medium 2. You can see them side by side. And then this is shade medium 1.5, which is a lot more on the yellow side. Now, I got two shades just because I wasn't really sure like what shade I wanted. And I was really intrigued by the shade medium 2 specifically, because it had more of a pink undertone, a little bit more of a peach undertone, which is definitely good for darkness under the eye. So I kind of wanted something that was going to be a little bit more of a corrector than like a true 100% match, because sometimes your girls' under eye circles are just crazy. So I'm actually going to blend these out with the brush. Now the brush is very interesting. It's kind of curved up, if you can see. You can see like the concealer I've been using it a ton this week. And this is really similar. If you've ever used the Rare Beauty concealer brush, this is really similar. These types of concealer brushes are so good at blending out under eye concealer. And sometimes I don't want to grab a beauty blender and wet it and all that stuff, especially if you're on the go. You just want like a quick brush. This is actually a very, very nice brush. Now I'm going to blend them out with the brush so you can kind of just see how it blends, and you can see the coverage once it blends. Okay, so that is medium 2, and then I'm going to blend out medium 1.5. You can kind of see. So it does blend out really nicely. It has a really, really nice finish. Now, I love concealer. Concealer is like the best, and it's like the most fun. Okay, maybe not the most fun, because like I love testing skin tints and stuff like that, specifically like complexion products, but it's like the most fun because concealer is one of those things that you don't necessarily have to wear with like a skin product. You can just kind of pinpoint, and like it can like just be in and of itself the product that you use for your complexion. So I love testing out concealer, but you can kind of see how it looks. And it definitely, the more salmon shade, which is medium 2, I've been loving to also layer underneath other products. Now, this is really interesting because other concealers. This is really interesting because the way that it blends out is just, I mean, you can see, is just so seamless. And I love that. I love that. I'm actually wearing it under my eyes today. I love something that blends out really seamlessly because I feel like there was a point in the world where we thought stuff that looked like cake, that looked cakey, but was super crazy full coverage and really like almost thick because Tarte Shape Tape came out and took the world by storm, looked good. And it's not that it looks bad because sometimes you just need to cover it all. I have the darkest under eye circles. Studio lights are just, they lie, you guys, they lie. They make it look like your under eyes aren't as dark as they are, but they are really dark. But with that came like your under eyes getting really dry and it feeling like there was a ton of product, and it didn't blend out seamlessly, especially if you weren't wearing a foundation. So you couldn't just tap it out and be like, okay, I'm out the door. You would notice the concealer. And I found that to be really frustrating because not only did, first of all, Tarte Shape Tape, so drying. Like, what's the hair dry nightmare my under eyes were after I wore that? No, thank you. But also I found that like when I blend, like I just couldn't seamlessly wear it every day. And that really, really bothered me because I did love the coverage. She's so cute. But then I found other concealers that I love more. If you want something that full coverage, Cover FX, you guys, the Cover FX concealer. I don't think they sell Cover FX at Sephora anymore, but the Cover FX Power Play concealer, honey, so cute, so cute, so good, and not drying under the eyes. That's a really good concealer. But I digress. We're talking about this concealer right now. This concealer blends out really seamlessly, which is nice. I blended it out with this brush specifically. I've blended it out with other concealer brushes I've used. I've blended it out with beauty sponges. I blended it out with foundation brushes themselves. The Heavenly Luxe number 7 brush, the big side and the small side. The small side's really good for pinpointing. Love the small size. It really, really blends out seamlessly. And that I think is really important in a concealer. And the concealers in general that I love give me coverage, but also give me seamless. And at that, I feel like everyone loves that. So those are the 2 shades that I got. I do really like the way that it wears. I don't find that it bunches or clings to dry patches. I tried it on my hyperpigmentation. In general, this formula I prefer for under my eyes. You can pinpoint around your face, but anything that's more on the liquid side, I prefer for under my eyes. However, it looks really nice on top of hyperpigmentation and it doesn't cling to the drier hyperpigmentation marks. And that's really freaking important because sometimes hyperpigmentation, you guys, she gets dry. She gets real dry. She does. She gets freaking dry. And then you're just feeling that everything clings to it. This doesn't cling, which is really nice. So the way I like to apply this is I like to apply, like how I apply any or most concealers. Some concealers dry down and set down too quickly, so you can't do this trick. So you have to kind of figure out what concealers this works best for. But you apply it, and this is not a new trick to me. I feel like everyone does this. You apply it, you let it sit. In general, I let it sit for about a minute to 2 minutes, and I do my brows or I get a glass of wine, whatever. And then I blend it out and I not only get better coverage, but I also feel like it doesn't crease. Now, does this crease if I don't kind of do that? Sometimes, not always. It kind of depends. And let me tell you what it depends on. Have I had water that day? Or are my creases under my eyes like so intense? Now, we all have to remember stuff creases. Like, you know what? You know what was the biggest buffoonery that I have ever been a part of, and I think the world has been a part of, is people not being freaking honest about the fact that stuff is going to crease under your eyes. It just is. You know why? Because you move your face. Now, there's some products that kind of set up and they don't really crease as much, but there will always be a little bit of creasing, and stuff is going to move because you know what? It's on top of your face. It isn't your face, and especially if I don't drink water, because my under eye lines get like hella. You know what? Under eye lines are the worst, but if you drink a lot of water and you hydrate yourself, they won't be as apparent. They'll still be there. It happens. It happens to the best of us. And if someone has no under eye creases and you don't have under eye filler, drop a note down below on what hocus pocus you're doing, because the rest of us want to know. But I mean, so if I don't drink a lot of water, which never happens, or like I had a lot of wine the night before, or I was up really late editing and I was just staring at a computer screen, my eyes will be a little bit more creasy. And in those moments, I do find that it creases slightly, not a ton, not more than anything else. Like this isn't crease more. I don't find that I have a lot of mascara running with this, which is real nice. They say it's medium to full. I would personally say that this is more of a medium coverage concealer, at least, especially if you have really dark hyperpigmentation or you have really dark under eyes. Okay, now let's talk about the Ami Cole concealer compared to my two favorite concealers right now, the Rose Ink Concealer and the Ilia Concealer. Now I have the Power Play Concealer. I still love that. That is very full coverage. That is what I would consider full coverage. This one I don't consider as full coverage. Again, I consider it more medium. I would say in terms of coverage, it is more comparable to me to the Ilia one. I would say it's actually a little bit more full coverage than the Ilia one. The Ilia one is definitely very, very medium. I would say this is medium plus, but not full. And it depends on how much you apply. And I also think depends on how much you let this set up and like let it sit and then blend it out. But in terms of the way that they wear, I would say it's very similar. Same with the Rose Ink one. I would say the Rose Ink out of all of these is the most full coverage one. Now I'm going to swatch all of these. All of these are, I mean, if you see me hold them up, they're all different shades, right? Like it depends on the day. Can never find a perfect shade match. It just is what it is. Sometimes you gotta mix them together. Sometimes I mix these two together and it looks great. Now I'm gonna swatch. So this is the Rose Ink Concealer. This is, I would say, a blend of these two in terms of shade. It's a little bit warmer than the pink one that is shade medium 2, but it isn't as warm as the medium 1.5. So I'm going to swatch the the Ami Cole concealers, and then I'm also going to swatch the Ilia one so you can kind of see everything kind of side by side. So the Ilia one, I wear the shade Chai, and this is definitely more neutral than the Ami Cole 1.5. So I'm gonna go in order here. So here we have the Rose Ink in the shade LX100. Here you have the Ilia one in the shade Chai. Here you have the Ami Cole concealer in the shade 2. And then here you have the Ami Cole concealer in the shade 1.5. Now, they're all kind of variations of something similar, and the way when they blend out, they actually look really nice on my face, although you can tell that they're all somewhat different. They all look really nice. They all look really seamless. They work well with foundation, without foundation. I like the way that they wear. I like the way that they set up, and I like the way that by the end of the day, my under eyes look. They don't look crepey. They don't look super creased up. They don't look sloppy, and I feel like there are concealers out there that can do that. Especially the more really intense full coverage ones, like let's say Tarte Shape Tape, and like concealers in that vein. By the end of the day, with the Ami Cole concealer, I feel like I looked hydrated still. I feel like I still looked really nice. And even though there can be slight creasing depending on the day and the hydrations levels, because sometimes, honey, we're just like the most dehydrated people on earth, I feel like I still really like the way that my makeup looks, and I still like the way the coverage is. On my face. Now, when I do my face and I pinpoint on my face, I set it. I don't think that this works well if you don't set it on the face, especially if you're wearing masks, because I mean, it's concealer. What's the expectation? Like, it's going to like move around because again, it's on your face. So setting it is nice. I do like the way that this sets under the eyes with my favorite setting powder, the Cosa setting powder, which Sabi setting powder reviews coming, but I'm testing that a little bit, like I'm testing that longer because I just got done testing another powder. So that one I'm going to be testing a little longer, but that one is coming. Don't worry. This definitely wears really nicely, but I do think for around the face, if you're going to set your around like hyperpigmentation and stuff, set the top of it. It plays really well with, again, the powders that I like to use, and it plays really well with different types of cream, like eye cream. And that is important because everyone likes a different type of eye cream. So I have like a gel style eye cream, I have a more serum style eye cream, and then I have a more traditional, like going to be hydrated, like cream under eye cream. And I feel like these play really well with that, and they don't like bunch, because sometimes with gel style under eye creams, you can get just some bunching, but also eventually the fading kind of patches off just because of the type of concealer you put on top of it. Not all concealers, but sometimes it just happens because, you know, one is more water-based and one is more oil-based, and then you just kind of, well, it's science. We all watch Bill Nye the Science Guy. They separate. So these play really well with those two, which I think is really, really nice. Now, I'm very impressed with this, and I do really enjoy wearing them, and I will say, this concealer brush, you guys, oh my gosh, she's cute. So I use this brush with all the concealers I've mentioned. I've used them with more full coverage one. I've used them with the Hint Beauty Concealer, which is so full coverage. If you haven't seen my 2021 favorites, you got to check that out because I talk about a million concealers on there. But that's more of a pot one, and I have blended that out with this. So good. This shape, you need it. You need it. You need it. It's so freaking good. I mean, just look at it. It blends really nicely. It gives you like really nice coverage, but it doesn't soak up all the product. And I think that's really freaking important. And I love using a beauty sponge for under my eyes. I love the ease of it and how natural it makes my under eyes look. And I feel like a lot of the time brushes don't give me that natural, seamless under eye look. Sometimes I just feel like it kind of just swipes product around but doesn't do much. This really, she really does something. And I'm really freaking impressed. These are really, really good. I like them a lot. I would love to know, have you tried them? If you have, what are your thoughts? How do they compare to your favorite concealers? And also, do you like this thing? Do you like her as much as I do? She's real cute. And I would, you know what? Now I'm like in a mood to try other concealer brushes specifically. I think I want to try other ones like this because some concealer brushes just, I'm telling you, just don't, I don't know what is in this. I feel like there's like a secret to why this brush is so good, but I really, really enjoy this. It's just really good. And I would love to know if you have other concealer brushes that you love to use. Let me know down below because I'm on the hunt now. Now I'm on a concealer brush vibe. Like that's my vibe going forward. And yeah, that is it for my Ami Cole concealer review. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.